Hello, welcome to my video journal. It is Saturday, April 30th at 4:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today's episode is brought to you by Genesee non-alcoholic beer. Some people drink Pabst Blue Ribbon, other people drink Genesee non-alcoholic. Welcome to my video journal. This is my accounting of my criminal and mental health record in my words, not what you'll find on the police reports or the medical history. This is the final segment with the sheriff hat of this, and last time we talked about my first time in a long-term care facility. It ended up under a doctor that takes $500,000 a year from the pharmaceutical industry, in addition to a regular salary from the county for facilitating 4 hospitals. So I get out of that facility, I renovate my living room, dining room. I go until about August of 2017. Then I taper off the medication. I'm fine for a couple months, and then towards the end of the year I start taking over-the-counter Tylenol PM or NyQuil. It's just a sleeping pill that you can buy over the counter to help me sleep at night. In my time at home alone while Hillary's at work, I start a modcast. It's like a podcast. At the beginning of every episode, I say, "This is Mitch Miller's modcast as the world turns." It's the podcast for the modern world. A world in which all of your electronic devices could be spying on you, even your television. And I sit in my living room in front of my smart television with my phone in the room and maybe a tablet, and I do segments of like a podcast in my living room. If you followed along with that podcast, it's kind of like a podcast for the intelligence community, I guess. If you followed along with that, you could see that I started becoming delusional and entered into psychosis. February, March, April were pretty bad months. I won a divorce with my wife. Because of her pharmaceutical connections and because of this satellite, I believe, might have tortured me in my house because of her father and his ties to the satellite systems via stock options. So I start being very rude to my wife, very difficult person to live with. I do not physically abuse her, but it was somewhat abusive mentally, I'm sure, as I entered into psychosis. She has mentally abused me as well, if we're going tit for tat, but this was pretty extreme at times. There were good days and bad days. She leaves for Vietnam in May. She returns my spouse does. She returns by her birthday, which is May 28th, usually Memorial Day weekend. We go to the lake house at Conneaut Lake, where I have built up during my modcast that I'm going to confront her father about the misdeeds of her company. This is sales reps encouraging physicians to prescribe Risperdal, the drug that I was on, at elderly and juvenile delinquent centers to make the population more docile. A indication that, or a side effect of the medication that is not verified by the FDA, is not approved to be used for that type of situation. It's an antipsychotic. Tend to also confront him about the CIA database out of his building, and also the patent infringement, patent fraud, the SegiFix strap-down device, and the patent number that does not match up. It actually comes up in the database, U.S. patent database, as a novel bleaching process to clean maybe a device like that strap-down device, which was white. So we have dinner the night we get up there. I drink all day. We have dinner at the Iroquois Club. It's like a boating and skiing club, water skiing club on Conneaut Lake. It's like a country club. We're eating outdoors. And I'm too drunk to confront my father-in-law. I try to confront him, but I can't really speak. And because I'm so worked up, we go eye to eye, head to head, back and forth at the table. He tells me to sit back while he's eating, blah, blah, blah. It's pretty intense for her mom and my wife, I'm sure, to watch this exchange. I cancel my dinner. I'm not hungry. So we get in the car to head, what I think, back to the lake house, and her father says that he's taking me to the hospital, Meadville Medical Center, for treatment. So I'm at the mercy of him driving the vehicle. I flip out on him about all kinds of stuff. Him buying his son 3 vehicles when he only bought Hillary 1 Volkswagen Golf. All kinds of shit that I confront them about on the ride there. I ask her mom to take my mom's phone number out of her phone because I think that it's connected through the phone listings too. When we get to a red light on the main drag on 322 going into Meadville, we come to a stoplight finally, and I don't want to go into solitary confinement. I don't want to be strapped down to a bed. I don't want to be injected. So I don't want to go to Casey Kohler's treatment because for all I know, I've been receiving his treatments the whole time. I pull the door handle on the door. It opens up. I jump out of the back, and I run across the street. They go when the light turns green. I run back across the street to the Giant Eagle. I go inside. I buy a 6-pack. I cross the street. I'm walking back on 322 along the shoulder back to the lake house. They approach, pull up. Casey says, "Come on, get back in the car." They say, "Get back in the car." I say, "No, Casey Kohler, you get out and you talk to me, blah, blah, blah." I said something like that. So he comes over, is real nice, and is asking me to get in the car, and I say no, and I run across the street to the Justice bicycle trail that cuts over along French Creek, and I start walking. Hillary follows me, is yelling, "Come back." I say, "No, go with your fucking dad," blah, blah, blah. So I walk that bike trail as it's getting dark, drinking beer. I get to the 3 miles to the part where there's another parking lot on the bicycle trail. My parents are waiting for me. It's dark, pitch black. I convince them to take me back to the lake house. I go to the lake house. I walk. Hillary talks to me out front. Then I walk into the. I asked her parents if I can still stay there. I walk into the lake house. I say, "Permission to stay the night, sir," to Casey, and he's like, "Yeah." It was weird. And then he realized he probably shouldn't have said that, because then I booked straight down to the room. And I locked myself in the bedroom, My dad and Hillary come try to get me out of there. I yell about shit down there. I do not throw a brick through the sliding glass doors, luckily, like I wanted to. Eventually they talked me into coming out. Come out, has decided I should go home with my parents that night. There's another conversation out in the driveway where I say I wanted Casey to be the governor of New Jersey, blah blah blah, a bunch of delusional things in my head. Get in the car with my parents. We're driving back the back way, Lake Road, Georgetown Road, and I'm in the back seat and we're talking. They bought this new car. I believe they bought it with pharmaceutical money. This new CRV is the first new car they've ever bought. So it's a new car. It's got cameras. It's got all kinds of stuff. We're driving out Georgetown Road, coming up to the stop sign on Georgetown Road by Grantham's Landing. And I say, this has all been building up, but I say to my dad, believing that my dad is part of a conspiracy that the Johnson & Johnson CIA satellite is shooting a signal down onto his state prison at SCI Forest, causing psychosis in inmates so that they can test pharmaceuticals on them. So I say to my dad as we're approaching this stop sign, are you testing pharmaceuticals on black people at your prison? He says no. We come to the stop. I try to get out of the back again to walk home. The door, either he hits the auto lock or the door automatically locks because I'm in the back seat. He hears the lock, the door, me try to get out the door. He takes off through the stop sign. In my mind, it flashes back to the Toyota brake situation where the auto brakes or the auto gas accelerated the Toyota cars and they crashed and killed families. So I'm thinking that. So when I heard that auto lock back in and stuff and the car takes off like a bat out of hell, I'm thinking we're in autonomous mode. How am I going to disable this? How will I stop this? Maybe if I smash the window out, that'll trigger the car alarm and miswire some stuff. So I start smacking the window with my arm, getting harder and harder to see how much it's going to take to smash this thing. I smash through the window. My dad pulls off the side of the road, goes down over the berm a little bit. I jump out of the door. There's dogs barking at the house across the way. I start barking at the dogs. I run off into the woods. I hide there only about 30 or 40 yards off from where my parents are until the police come. Then a tow truck comes, pulls them out of the berm, and they drive away fine. I proceed to walk through the middle of the night in the dark, pretty full moon I guess, all the way down Georgetown Road, down the road to Utica, make it home, clean up my wound on my wrist, and go to bed for about 4 hours. Get up in the morning. I'm trying to make copies of a Rent-A-Center lease agreement because I rented a TV to prove to people that the wireless waves can pick up on a TV with just a little paper clip sticking out of the antenna hole, because that's what happens in the city here. That's what they were doing at the Rent-A-Center. That's a long story. I'm trying to make copies of that lease agreement, and I'm having coffee, and I say I'm going to pay for your vehicle to my parents. I just have to get in town to get to the ATM. I want to go to the original Mac machine at the Northwest Savings Bank that still has the Mac symbol above it. For some reason I think if I use my Direct Express Social Security card at that old Mac machine that it'll help cross-reference a bunch of investigations I have going on via the supercomputers being on my side and cross-referencing the banking industry, cross-referencing the pharmaceutical industry. They're all out there on the internet working their magic. They won't lend me a vehicle to go into town, Franklin. So I go down to my grandpa's, ask if I can borrow his vehicle. He says no. So then I proceed to walk. I walk Utica Road out to 322. I have my phone with me. My wife calls when I'm halfway out Utica Road. I talk to her for a minute and then I hang up, I think. I walk to Wyatteville store. I call Hillary's mom. Say some crazy stuff to her about offering $5 to pay for the meal that day at the country club. And that she should have took me up on the offer. Hang up there. I walk another mile and a half. And I'm near a storage facility in Sugar Creek, and a state trooper approaches me from the front. He gets out, starts talking to me. Another state trooper rolled in from behind, coasted in with the engine shut off, so I don't hear him. He gets out and starts approaching me from behind. I turn around and I'm like, whoa, what's going on? So they have me surrounded. Two of them have me surrounded. I start to back up towards the storage facility. This is probably all on their dash cams. Another patrol car comes in, so there's three of them. They're talking to me. I calmed down because they spooked me a little bit, but it was fine. I said, can I use my phone to call the Supreme Court? And they said, you can call whoever you want. So I called the Supreme Court of the United States of America by getting out my little book and calling on the phone. And I'm on the phone and I'm like, I'm surrounded by 3 state troopers, blah, blah, blah. And the one lead state trooper gets a call on his phone. So I take that as we're coordinating different things, and it's a Mexican standoff. And I said, well, now we're in a Mexican standoff. And he says, the other one's like, he's off his phone now. So I set my phone down on the ground. I think I hung it up or they hung up on me. But just in case it was tapped, I kept it between me and the police. I set it down on the ground. A social worker comes, says, you're getting 302'd again, blah, 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 something like that. My parents come and verify that it's me. They ask me if I know who those people are. I say no, because in my mind, their brains have been hacked by a satellite that they don't understand, and it's not the people that I know. The state troopers put me in a car. They strapped my hands to the front of me instead of handcuffed behind the back. It's a lot more comfortable. Drive me to UPMC Northwest, a hospital in Seneca near Franklin. There's a mental health wing on that hospital. They take me into receiving, into a room with nothing in it, and the state troopers stay there. I get piss tested. Then they nurse comes and receives me. Take all the stuff out of my pocket. I picked up a piece of slate and a piece of aviator sunglasses, and I'm explaining what all these things are. And then he puts me in a wheelchair to take me back to the mental health wing. And while I'm around all the computers, I say my social security number and that I do not have insurance, because I believe it's the reason I'm getting such good treatment is because I'm on my wife's insurance. But I wanted a divorce to get off of her insurance so that they couldn't just keep doing this to me. They take me back, and I stop talking as soon as I get into the mental health wing. I start asking for a pen and paper. I write everything out. For Sorry, the screen went blank again. For 68 days I was in that facility, and I did not speak. I kept handwritten notes between every interaction between doctors and nurses. That's what this book, Institute and Clinic, that I'm writing on this computer is about. My stay in there. After 68 days, I am transferred to a long-term care facility to be reintroduced to the public again. This time, it is in Allegheny County. It's in Pittsburgh, but it's near the. It's just outside of Squirrel Hill, near the Calvary Cemetery. There's 6 radio towers, cell phone towers, only about a couple hundred yards away from this facility. I can see it from the courtyard in the back. Other than that, the facility is very nice. Get my own room again, my own shower, TV time, computer time. There's a beautiful courtyard with grapes growing on an arbor. They grow some vegetables and stuff. I help out with that. I eat wild grapes and recover. I'm active on the one computer. I access my website. I handwrite out a series of short stories while I'm there, and every week I log in. Every week that I'm there, other than the first couple weeks, I log in to my website, plotm.com, and I update a new story. I hand type in a new story every week for those that follow my website that were wondering what happened to me. I put out a new short story every week. That's not the Denmark one with the Danish names. It's the series without the Danish names. So I'm able to use the phone, talk to my grandma Miller some, make some calls, and on my best behavior. And after 3 months, they let me out of there. I was on the melt away medication again, yeah, so I got out of there the day before Halloween, I believe, 2018, and gave up on divorcing my wife. I just went back to the status quo. Quit drinking for a year after that. Continued on after my 5-month stay. Almost 6-month stay. I continued for another 6 months to not drink. And nothing really to report other than a sexual assault case in the coal mine. When I get a job at the coal mine almost half a year later. But that's on my podcast. So this is pretty much it. Since 2018, since October of 2018, I haven't had an incident, been stable on medication. If I had $1 million, I would try to go off the medication again with being open and honest like this to my psychiatrist and meeting with a shrink or a therapist probably every other day or every 3 days as we taper off the medication to see if I could stay off of it. I do believe this medication will give me neurological damage someday if I haven't already had it, and might not make it past 60 on this medication. But it's better than being in a state of psychosis and hurting the ones around me who are my network of support. So that's that. With that, I'll take my sheriff hat off, and these videos might be helpful to people. This is an Apple computer, so the Apple Computer Company might block people from accessing these videos. I'll say this computer was purchased by the University of Pittsburgh, and I release all of these videos to the University of Pittsburgh to do with them what is in the best interest of the public, of the most amount of the population, to help them. So I release these videos to the University of Pittsburgh to vote on how they should be used. Tune in next time when I talk about a short film I wanted to make that I've had in my head for several years now, and that I'm kind of pushing towards making it the founding document of my weapons company for non-lethal compressed air dueling pistols. So join me next time when I talk about that. If you're a politician out there, I hope this was helpful for you to decide whether you want to work with me or not. I don't see myself necessarily as a victim, but I think I've been through a lot of stuff that I'm trying my best to explain. But you can take the simple route and just explain it as he has a chemical imbalance that causes him to have schizophrenia. I believe there's external sources of these mental illness that we have not explored or studied in depth at all. But it's easy to say his brain functions differently, just like if somebody was born without a leg. We can't really explain why it happened, but they were just born that way. I know that's the easiest way for people to accept this, but I think that there's external causes, and I think we should study those external causes. Anyway, thanks for watching. Join me next time.